broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege.
We are live for UFC Louisville. Welcome. And it's about that time the young phenom Raul Rosas Jr. is making his way to the octagon. He's fighting Ricky Turcios here in fight number 3. And then in the co-main event, you got Dominic Reyes, Dustin Jacoby. And then finally, in the main event, middleweight division is on full display this month in June with Jared Cannonier and Nassourdine Imavov. One of these guys will move into the top 5 fighters solidified in the division, with Hamza Chimaev and Robert Whitaker also going down this month. So by the end of this month, we'll have a good idea of the middleweight division and the rankings and all that. So we'll see how it plays out tonight. But first, we got Raul Rosas Jr. and Ricky Turcios. So I'll pre-warn you now. I'm a big Florida Panthers fan. They're in the Stanley Cup final. They've never won it. They're up 2-0 right now in game 1. So I will be flipping back and forth to that at different times throughout the program. Probably during the breaks, though, is when I'll be doing most of that. We will not miss a fight or any action. Please believe it. So Ricky Turcios came in as the young Raul Rosas Jr. came in as a young 18-year-old phenom. He's now 19 years old, taking on the 31-year-old Ricky Turcios, who's no joke either. He's 13-3. But for Raul Rosas Jr., he's only lost to Christian Rodriguez, right? An older guy who really just controlled the heck out of him. And as much as you want to see Rosas Jr. just run the table, come into the UFC, there's levels here. And he had a setback, but expect him to be better and better and better every time you see him over the next 4 to 5 years, until one day, in my opinion, he likely grabs a title. Let's just be honest. Can't get into the UFC at 18 and never win the belt. I mean, it's going to happen. But he's got to get past a very good fighter in Ricky Turcios, who's getting introduced right now. And I like Ricky Turcios, man. I like the guy. I didn't like this matchup just because I like Ricky Turcios. But at the same time, I love Raul Rosas Jr. I love the story. I love the fact that he's fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada now, training there, right? And he already looks stronger in the shoulders and the chest area. And just trying to describe to you the difference that we're going to see from this guy as time goes forward. I mean, he's looking bigger and bigger. He's going to be faster and faster. His takedown game is ridiculous. And these things are only going to get better as time goes on. Please believe it. Please believe it. So both fighters introduced, and this thing is getting ready to get started. So here we go. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Turcios, and Rosas tries to go in and touch gloves, and immediately Turcios nearly lands a kick up top. Rosas Jr. is learning quick. There's no time to touch gloves with these guys. Can't come in there being nice. Turcios came to fight and lands a leg kick quick. And very quick start. Both guys jumpy. And here goes Rosas right to the ground. And Turcios can't believe it. You see the look on his face. Like, you got to know this is coming against Rosas Jr., right? I mean, you got to know it's coming. This is the guy's MO. He wants to take you down. And unfortunately for Turcios, he gets up the takedown right away. Right away. Now Rosas has top position. He's looking to, Turcios is against the fence, so it's very hard. He's trying to pull him out, and he does pull him out. Turcios drags himself back to the fence. So right now, Turcios is okay. And the crowd chanting something says something about Ricky. I don't know if it's FU or what's going on. I'm trying to hear what they're saying, but it sounds like a negative toward Ricky Tercios. And I believe it because, despite Raul Rosas Jr. being from Mexico and Tercios is American and we're fighting in America, I think people recognize that this guy is a legitimate fighter. He's the future of the division, and they want to see a big performance by the 19-year-old. And Tercios in all types of trouble right now as Rosas just controlling the top. And that's what you can expect from him, right? In the next few fights we watch, his ground game is going to get better and better. But against Christian Rodriguez, he couldn't do it. Rodriguez was just too strong, too much of a veteran. But as he fights other fighters, you're going to see a heavy ground game. And now Rosas landing some big rights on Tercios. He looks to take the back, but instead he drives him back into the fence. And we're back to square one. Tercios standing up. His corner's clapping. They got to like this. And that's big. Now he lands a knee to the body. And Rosas looking to pick him up again. And he takes him right down. Unbelievable. And this guy's relentless. And Tercios doing a good job in defense. It's just that Rosas Jr. is relentless on the ground. I mean, he's going to continue to get the head on the hip, making it hard for Tercios to do anything. And Tercios trying to land some elbows, much like Curtis Blades versus Jailton Almeida, if you remember that. Jailton was taking everybody down. And finally, Curtis Blades had enough after 9 takedowns in 2 rounds and just started landing elbows and hammers and won the fight. But I don't see Tercios doing that here. Watch the fence grab, ref. Come on, baby. Okay, Raul's looking to take the back. He's trying to get the legs wrapped around. Tercios doing a good job of defending most positions. And if Tercios is smart here, he could find himself on top. And Tercios is out. And now he's on top. Oh, boy. And that's a mistake by Rosas Jr. Now Tercios takes the back and gets the body lock. And look at this. Now he's getting underneath of Rosas. Rosas is in trouble. Oh my goodness. Keep your chin down. A lot of time left here. Rosas is trying to pound away, but he should be fighting the hands. Unless he feels good about his chin being down, which it is. But I tell you what, Tercios is sliding slowly. And now Rosas is trying to fight the hands. This isn't good. This is not good. It seems like it's getting lower and lower. And Rosas pounding away. And he's got one arm broke. And now Rosas turns. Crowd loves it. Now he's pounding away. Not happy about that almost coming to an end. And now Rosas takes the back. Unbelievable turn of events. And boy, Tercios is really protecting that right arm from getting wrapped around. And I'll tell you what, if there's another 30 seconds left in this round, Rosas might get a finish here. But the clock's ticking down under 5 seconds now in a wild first round. Back and forth here. Unbelievable. And, it's going to be interesting how the judges judge this round. Because this is a tough part for Rosas Jr. Sometimes the takedowns and control don't matter against the striking. Because Tercios led 53-20 in total strikes. Just 9-3 insignificant. So you had a lot of punches and kicks and body shots, things of that nature, but they weren't significant, right? Head strikes, 5-3 for Tercios, but Rosas Jr., 2 takedowns, 3 minutes and 40 seconds of control. So, but at the end of the day, what did he really do in that time? That's the bottom line. So you can make the case for both guys. Rosas Jr. controlled the ground for the most part, but he's trailing big time in significant strikes. So here we go into round 2. And, if you're the cornerman, you got to be telling Rosas Jr.'s corner, take the ground, take the takedowns, obviously, but be very careful of switching positions. Don't let Tercios get the upper hand. And if you're Tertius's corner, you're saying, let's try to get a minute or two on the feet. Let's protect the takedown at all costs because you're winning on the feet. And here we go with round 2. And this time, no touch of gloves. And a flying knee by Rosas. The crowd's loving it. And Rosas much more animated now after nearly getting submitted. And he lands a big flying knee on Tertius. Now Rosas Jr. right back to the takedown. So this is not good for Ricky Tertius. He's got to be able to stop these takedowns, but he just can't seem to do it. Now Tertius being warned about elbows to the back. And he didn't like that at all. Kind of shoves the ref off, and they continue going at it. So you got 3 takedowns now by Rosas, as he's got the body lock and he's behind. He's got the back and the body lock, so this isn't good for Tertius. It's not a perfect position because Tertius might still be able to turn, but that body lock is going to prevent that for the time being. And even though this fight spent a lot of time on the ground, it's still considered a wild first round. It's very animated. Ooh, and Rosas is close here. Oh, Tertius fights the hands well, just as he was getting the second one locked in. And both guys recognize what's going on. Right now, Tertius pushing Rosas Jr. In the head, pushing his head far away so he can't get it locked in efficiently. And now Tertius is looking to try to stand up. Rosas Jr. still has the back, and Tertius goes right back to the ground. And we'll see if Rosas Jr. can go to work here. Love to see this guy get a finish. Ooh. Tertius has it. Oh, this time he's got it locked, but just like before, it's not low. Oh boy, this is tight though. This is absolutely tight. It's not even underneath, but I could very easily see Tertius tapping here as they roll around. Oh, it's tight. Yeah, this is not good. Tertius is going to have to tap. He taps, and that's it. Raul Rosas Jr. gets the win. That's what I'm talking about. And that was a good battle against a good fighter in Ricky Tertius. And he's going to jump on top of the octagon. And I don't see any officials trying to talk him down, which is a good thing. Maybe Dana White got to those guys. Beautiful. But Raul Rosas Jr., if I can say his name right, has the crowd amped up as he sits on top of the octagon fence. And that'll do it here. First fight is done. And we need to run the table here. We're doing it right now. Got the first one. Raul Rosas Jr., the 19-year-old phenom, moves to 9-1 here in the bantamweight division at UFC Louisville. All right, so we got a lot more coming up. 2 big fights, light heavyweight division and middleweight division, when we come back from this quick break. Stay tuned. Now, as we move forward, the UFC rankings are out, and not much has changed. The main thing, Paulo Costa slips to number 8. Okay? But it brings up all types of discussions here in the UFC middleweight rankings, especially. As you see there, these are the top 5, right? Dricus is his champion. Then number 1, you got Sean Strickland. Number 2, Adesanya. 3, Robert Whittaker. 4, Jared Cannonier. Those 2 guys fighting over the next few weeks, trying to maintain their spot. Right? So you're either going to get a much more strengthened middleweight division if all these guys continue to win. Right? Or you're going to get some new guys in there like Imavov and Hamza Chimaev. But that top 4, well, removing Dricus from the equation, but just looking at the contenders, that top 4 is going to be very solidified here very soon. And I think Marvin Vettori fades away or goes down. I think Whittaker and Cannonier, obviously, if they lose, they're going down. But we're going to know from 1 to 4 who it is. And I think this is why the UFC hasn't done anything yet with Dricus du Plessis, the current champ. They have a big opportunity to set up a big fight without him and Adesanya, but Sean Strickland only lost by a split decision. So maybe Sean Strickland gets the next fight. Maybe Adesanya's not down to fight right away. We just don't know. And until we get something official, this division is wide open. But the fact that Sean Strickland won means that even if Hamza wins, he's not getting a title shot. Did you guys hear what I said? Even if Hamza Chimaev wins, he's not getting a title shot. They're not going to let that happen. They're just not going to let it happen. So now you need Hamza to win. If you're a Hamza fan like myself and others out there, a lot of us out there, you need Hamza to win. And, you know, if Cannonier beats Imavov and Hamza wins, Hamza is likely to be number 4, not number 3. Right? So now he's going to have to fight an Adesanya or Cannonier. And even if he fights Cannonier, does that do enough? He could have fought, instead of doing all this, he could have just fought Cannonier a while ago. Because Cannonier was calling for that fight. Who knows how serious that was. But he could have fought Cannonier a while ago. So you have all this jumping off in the middleweight division. And it's quickly rising to the top of the list as far as best divisions. I mean, the lightweight division is up there right now. But now with Islam kind of clearing it out, Arman Sarukian number 1, then you got Poirier and Gaethje who are coming off losses. That division is quickly starting to tumble in terms of depth, right? Because if the champion is so dominant, that weakens the outlook of the division, at least in how I feel. So that's what's going on there right now, is the division is looking weaker and weaker as time goes forward. So we'll have to wait and see. Hamza versus Robert Whittaker is going to be an absolute blast in Saudi Arabia. And man, what will it be like if Hamza can go in there and just finish Robert Whittaker early in that fight? Let's make it tough on the UFC. Hamza, let's get a big win. Okay? So everyone can start calling for a title shot. Or at least you get someone that was a former champ like an Adesanya. We don't need Jared Cannonier. We don't need any of these other guys. We need a quick victory and looking upward at the top. And let's make it happen by year's end. I don't see that happening. We've said this every year, like this is the year that Hamza gets a title. No, man, the time is just, I mean, we're halfway through the year just about now and he hasn't even fought yet. So, you know, if you think he's fighting anytime soon, you might as well forget about it. It's not happening. Former UFC champ offers worrisome outlook for the return of Conor McGregor. Brace yourself for disappointment. That's Daniel Cormier, DC Daniel Cormier on the Good Guy, Bad Guy podcast or show with Chael Sonnen. He said just yesterday, start to brace yourself a little bit for disappointment, Cormier told Chael Sonnen. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news. Let me tell you something about the UFC. Dana White will argue and scream at the media. He will give the media a hard time. Dana White has no problem letting the media down. You know who Dana White doesn't like letting down? The fans. And I think that's fair to say by Cormier. That's for sure. He tries to over-deliver for fans. To me, it feels like this is a big deal, right? The cancellation of the press conference yesterday in Dublin, Ireland. Like, they're going to have a press conference for McGregor in Ireland. The fact that that's canceled right now is very concerning. He goes on to say, we are all guessing, right? And I told you that yesterday. There's a lot of speculation going around. But can I ask you this? Does there come a point where an athlete gets in camp and goes, I really don't know if I want to deal with any of this? And ultimately does that attitude roll over to fight week and go, I don't need this anymore. I don't really want to fight. I don't have to. You know, and I see where DC is going with this, but I don't necessarily agree that Conor McGregor doesn't have the attitude towards he wants to fight. Is he totally hungry like he once was? No. But is he still an elite fighter? Yes. And does he still want to fight? I say absolutely. He wants to fight. So I don't think it's any of that. Now, well, before we get into what people are speculating today, let's talk about what McGregor said on X. So I first of all, I understand what Daniel Cormier is saying. Prepare yourself for disappointment, for sure. When it comes to McGregor, we don't know what to expect in these, you know, later years of his career. And he's got all the money. And I'm a huge McGregor fan, okay? But we don't know what to expect. McGregor said on X today, and I quote, in consultation with the UFC, today's press conference was canceled due to a series of obstacles outside of our control. I apologize to my Irish fans and fans around the world for the inconvenience and appreciate all your passion and support. I can't wait to put on the greatest all-time show in the octagon. So he's still talking about putting on a show. But today's speculation is that he's possibly injured. Don't know this to be a fact, but they're saying McGregor is possibly injured.
Oh!
That would be terrible, man. That would absolutely be terrible for McGregor.
McGregor's in serious trouble.
Yeah, it would be trouble for him, man. It would just be bad timing. See, the thing that everyone's getting crazy about is they've already sold like $20 million worth of tickets or something along those lines. I saw the $20 million number thrown out. I believe it's for ticket sales. I could be wrong on that. But it's already trending very high, right? Among all-time pay-per-view events, it's already trending really high. So the last thing the UFC wants to do is have to change opponents. You got to have McGregor at UFC 303. That's the bottom line. So McGregor's not giving us any, angle here to really talk about or go with. So everything we're saying and talking about is really speculation, what people are saying, right? And we covered these yesterday. There's multiple things or reasons that could have caused the cancellation of the press conference, or it could have just been exactly what they're saying. Obstacles outside of our control, logistics, flying people in, getting everyone there, getting all the equipment set up. I mean, this can all happen, no problem. But there has to be, obviously there's a reason that this thing was canceled, right? So it's leading to a lot of speculation as to what caused this cancellation. Are they going to still do it before the fight? Well, now how do you do that because time is running out? Right? There's a lot of things at play here, and they got to start making moves real quick. But the fact they canceled yesterday's press conference has people going all over the place. We said yesterday about the potential failed drug test. Again, no one knows any of this for sure. They keep this stuff hush-hush. But these are things that people are topics that people are bringing up as possibilities, and it's going to be this way until we know as a fact what is actually happening. And maybe they never really go into more detail, right? We just hopefully, we get the fight that we're all hoping to get, because that's a big deal. And Michael Chandler is coming ready. And it does feel like McGregor didn't really want this fight, but he's kind of locked into it. It's kind of a weird thing. But it's been made to appear that way before, and then the documentary comes out and you see behind the scenes that after the Cerrone fight, McGregor wants to fight right now. So, who knows what's going on behind the scenes. Next up, you got Dominic Reyes and Dustin Jacoby in a light heavyweight fight. We haven't seen Dominic Reyes that much over the past 3 years, just 2 fights since really 4 years, since 2020, just 2 fights, maybe 3. So he's coming back and, he's fighting a good fighter in Jacoby. Let's get into this one right now. In the light heavyweight division at UFC Louisville, got Dominic Reyes making the return. We haven't seen him in a while. He's 12-4, taking on Dustin Jacoby, who comes in at 19-8. So I like this matchup. Reyes, 1 inch taller, is 6'4". He's 34. Jacoby's 36. You almost would feel like it's the other way around. Reyes, 1 inch reach advantage, 77-76. He fights left-handed or southpaw. Jacoby fights right-handed. Jacoby more active, 5.5 significant strikes to 4.8. Right? Both guys really like 1 takedown every 9 rounds. So it's going to be a stand-up striking affair, which is why Jacoby is the favorite. Now, Reyes, just 2 fights since 2021. And he's lost 4 in a row to John Jones, Jan Blachowicz, Jiří Procházka, Ryan Spann. So 3 of those 4 against really good opponents. Superman Spann KO'd him in the first round. It just hasn't gone well for him as of late. But where does Jacoby mix in compared to the last 4 opponents, right? Jacoby lost to Benefield by decision, as of Matt Mirzakhanov and Khalil Roundtree, both by decision. He did KO Kennedy Zachukwu. So 2 guys that are struggling are squaring off in the co-main event. You gotta love it. And it's hard to believe that Dominic Reyes has really slowed down this much, but we haven't seen him in some time. I have a feeling we're going to see a different Dominic Reyes in this fight. I expect a great battle here, that Dominic Reyes might win. I have a feeling he's going to win. Left-handers are comfortable against right-handers. Most fighters are right-handers, so Jacoby's used to fighting righty on righty. So we'll see how it goes in terms of the opposite stances. I like Dominic Reyes to edge out Dustin Jacoby, despite the fact he's almost a 2-1 underdog. And I like him to win by decision here to move to 13-4 on significant strikes. He might even trail in total, but he's going to win 2 of the 3 rounds very closely to get the win here. Light heavyweight division, UFC Louisville. Yeah, it should be an interesting fight between these two in the light heavyweight division. I mean, big implications and an opportunity for Dustin Jacoby to beat a well-respected opponent, right? In Dominic Reyes, an opportunity for Dominic Reyes to get back in the win column and start looking better. He's not that old at all, and he's 12-4 still a force to be reckoned with, but hasn't looked good for whatever reason since the 2019-2020 days, right? But he's certainly capable of getting back to form.
You're watching the TCMMA podcast. And now, back to your host, Chris Cross.
All right, we are back. 2 fights to go. Up next, Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's have some fun, baby. Let's get it popping. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited about this one now, especially after Raul Rosas Jr. Got the big win. I'm excited. I'm excited. And do we got to have the picks updated by now, right? I know we haven't been doing it on the scroll, but we got to have the picks updated. There we go. Oh, it's not updated with Rosas Jr. Give me credit for the win, baby. So we started out rough, man. 1-4. Then we won 3 in a row to get back to 4-4. Then lost 2 in a row to get to 4-6. And then got the last 2. So we're back to 6-6 with the final 2 fights. So still an opportunity for a really good night. If we can win these next 2 and get to 8-6, and 11-8 in the main event, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So there you have it. Dominic Reyes and Dustin Jacoby up next. Both fighters making the walk right now. And excited about this one. Peeking into the chat room, you got Chahab saying, hey, what's happening? Love the vids, no doubt. My name is Mike Latoris. Okay, I see you in the chat room. I see you in there. Yes, sir. We're going to keep the videos coming, man. This month is ridiculous, too. I mean, this month is absolutely ridiculous. So both fighters make the walk. The light heavyweight division is ridiculous right now. I mean, you got Jamal Hill and Carlos Ulberg underneath of McGregor and Chandler. I cannot wait for that one. Cannot wait for that one. Yes. Yes. Let me type in something real quick. I know everybody's looking up Raul Rosas Jr. right now. So it looks like both fighters are going to get introduced into the octagon right now. So we're just moments away from this fight taking place. Let's get it, man. So Reyes 12-4, as you heard in the prediction. Jacoby 19-8. And 2 well-respected fighters in this division. Dominic Reyes was once at the top, even fought John Jones for the title. Didn't get the job done. A lot of people thought he won the fight, actually. But John Jones retained the title at that point in time, and since then, Dominic Reyes has not looked good at all. This fight happening in Louisville, Kentucky, man. Closest UFC to where I'm at ever. And fully expected to go, but didn't make it. So kind of disappointed, but at the same time, glad I'm with y'all for the watch party. You understand what I'm saying? Dominic Reyes kind of pacing back and forth. And now he's introduced, and this fight is seconds away from going down. And I'm hoping for a quick night. I'd love to be able to watch the third period of the Stanley Cup Final, as my beloved Florida Panthers are fighting for their first one ever. But nonetheless, here we go. You got Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby. Dominic Reyes looking to get back in the win column. Jacoby looking to pick up his best win of his career. Make no mistake about it. And this is a 3-round light heavyweight fight, so expect fireworks quickly. There's going to be a minute or two feeling out period, but they don't have much time to play around. Every round is so important. And already it's looking a little awkward because you got Reyes standing left-handed, Jacoby standing right-handed, and man, Reyes is all the way down to 15 in the division, and that's a lot because of the losses he sustained, but also the inactivity plays a role in that as well. I'd say he's more like 7 or 8 right now, to be honest. And you see both guys landing some leg kicks early, really trying to slow down the lead leg. You see that among opposite stance fighters, because you can kick to the inside of your opponent's leg. And now Jacoby switches the left hand and lands a leg kick on Reyes. He didn't like that at all. And another one. So Jacoby doing a good job of switching stances. I mean, he's not known for that, but he's doing what he has to do. And when he does, he's trying to utilize a leg kick when he matches up with Reyes lefty on lefty. And Reyes has kind of figured that out now. Leg kicks 4-3. That's a majority of the significant strikes right now. Reyes up 8-4. Head strikes is 3-0 for Reyes. So he's got a slight edge in this round early on. And a big right by Jacoby comes through. Ooh, and some big shots now by Jacoby. And Reyes landed a big one. Oh, Jacoby's in trouble. Takes a left and a knee. Jacoby goes down. Reyes is pounding away. Boy, Mark Smith is looking at this. Jacoby is in all types of trouble here. Reyes opens up, and that's it. And Reyes gets a big win, and he lets out a roar. And Jacoby puts his hands up like what? But I think that's a great stoppage. I mean, Reyes really sensed the finish. And look at, he's laying back on the octagon, and he's loving this because he hasn't had this type of setting in a long time. A lot of inactivity and some losses. And Reyes comes in and gets a quick finish, man. And just like that, I mean, the drought is over in a big way. I mean, you had like a lot of decisions in a row over the past 2 to 3 weeks. Going back to before the week off. And then all of a sudden now we get multiple KOs in a row. And Reyes is jumping around. He's pumped up. And he's probably been dying to hear the roar of the crowd. And he gets it. Big KO to move to 13-4 here. Light heavyweight division at UFC Louisville. Unbelievable, man. So Dominic Reyes did the darn thing, got the win. And just like that, we're waiting on the main event. Just like that. So we're going to take another quick break and get ourselves prepped and prepared for the main event. You'll get the prediction and all that before we get there. So make sure you listen closely because this one is big. I think we've gotten 5 of the last 6, so we're on a little bit of a run right now. But we're still just 10-8, as you saw among the picks on the season. So battling from 4-7 to 10-8. So what's that? So we're 6-1 in the last 7. So that's incredible. So listen, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. I don't have time for it. This is where y'all got to help me out, right? This is why I like to chat. Y'all got to keep me updated. You're asking me if I know anything. I'm asking you if you know anything. Nobody knows anything about what's going on with McGregor. Werewolf MMA. What fights could they even add? Would they make Yuri versus Alex? Maybe. Maybe. But I think Alex is looking up to heavyweight now. I think he's dead serious. But the conversation has kind of calmed down because John Jones wants to fight Stipe, which is just crazy. He's just doing what he did in the light heavyweight division by just delaying these fights, you know, and holding up the belt. But he can do that. Another one waiting in the chat room. Chandler has to fight if Conor is injured. Can't keep waiting. Yeah, I mean, they're going to put someone else in there against Chandler. And if they do that, then they're going to have to come up with a big title fight situation or a big fight on very short notice. I mean, this pay-per-view is not next month. This pay-per-view is like now. UFC 303 is in the same month. Like, if McGregor were to be injured, again, we don't know. No one knows. So you're asking me for news. I'm giving you, the news I know, which is absolutely nothing. What up, Bruner? I see you in there. What's up, man? What's up? But yeah, when it comes to McGregor, we don't know. But if McGregor can't go for some reason, which I hope he goes, but if he can't, they got to do something with Michael Chandler right now, and they got to announce another fight immediately. They got to announce another fight immediately, and maybe that's why no one knows what's going on. Maybe that's why there's going to be a 24 to 72 hour window here, 1 to 3 days, where everyone's speculating and no one knows. Because before McGregor can come out and say, hey, I'm out, and everyone starts saying, hey, I want my money back, something's got to happen. Something's got to happen. So, there's probably a lot going on the inside. King Terzi. It's just insane that we don't know what's going on. I know. And it's a big deal to cancel the press conference in Ireland, where McGregor's from. McGregor wants that. The way McGregor rolls, he wants that press conference. Something is going on. We just don't know what it is. There's no way it could just be something small, right? It's got to be something big, because don't just tell me that it didn't work out and all this or whatever, what they're saying. We got to know what's going on, and we don't. We have no idea. And if I'm a ticket holder right now, I'm freaking out, which I'm not. Terzi said, yeah, this is like UFC 300 all over again. They would need something like Alex versus Yuri 2, which wouldn't be a bad bet, because Yuri's going to be much better than his first fight with Pereira, right? Yuri's going to be much better than his first fight after coming back from the injury. He's already better. Now he's just going to go to another level, higher and higher, and that's going to be an ultimate matchup eventually. Nunes versus Harrison, BMF. Yeah. Chandler versus Holloway. I thought of that. Diaz versus Jorge too. Yeah, because wouldn't that be funny if they, because they pushed back the boxing, didn't they? Or no, that was Tyson. But I know something happened with Diaz and Masvidal. What if they just said, hey, forget the boxing, we're going to double the pay, and we need you at UFC 303 to save this thing? Very possible. Listen, all these things are possibilities, and we can speculate, and then tomorrow we'll find out it was all for nothing, but, it's fun. Bruner says, I'm not worried about 303. We got Aliskerov next week in the fight night co-main. Then we got Hamza the week after. 303, small potatoes. Yeah. Yep. But as long as they have these pay-per-view events, the pay-per-view event is huge, because you're talking about selling pay-per-views and ticket prices going up in attendance, right? And that's why the UFC 303 thing is such a big deal, is if a lot of people have paid money because McGregor's fighting. And that's a very crazy thing if something were to happen, right? There is still a chance Conor is fighting maybe something family related based on his Instagram post. See, I didn't see the Instagram post, so you're going to have to elaborate on that. I'd really like to know what he said, rather now than before the podcast is over and I go look it up. But yeah, man. And if it's family related, that would lead back. Maybe that's why Daniel Cormier said what he said. He read into it a little bit, right? That there may be a lack of motivation for Conor McGregor. So I'm curious in all these things, and I want to know if he's fighting. Back to Hamza for a minute. I'm very excited Hamza's fighting. It's just that, and it's scary, but I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that he's already won. It's now on to who the next opponent is. And it comes down to how Hamza wins, right? And I know a lot of people disagree with that, because you still got these diehard Whittaker fans. People thought Diaz was going to beat Hamza. Diaz would have been in some serious trouble against Hamza, because Hamza would have just, I think, even abandoned the takedown game and just went straight 2 minutes or less KO on him. I was kind of happy for Nate Diaz that fight didn't happen. It bought him some time. Conor posted with his kid and wife saying, "Thank you, God." Okay. So I see what you're saying. Cryptic. Yeah. But he always, even when McGregor's at his craziest, it always seems like he knows what he's doing. He's one step ahead of all of us. Like, and maybe I'm getting a little crazy on that, but it just seems like McGregor already knows that everyone's freaking out, and then throws out a cryptic Instagram message, just gives you just enough, but not enough, and then we're all speculating, right? And he knows it and loves it, and probably any one of us in that situation would be doing the same thing. All this stuff, everything that surrounding McGregor, like a Trump, really, is like anything that happens just makes the event bigger. Like, even when it's bad news, it's like great news, because the media is going to be all over it and the speculation is going to run rampant. No doubt about it. Mr. Softy's back. That's so true. Conor is always a step ahead of us. So I wonder what it could mean. I know. And I think he wants us to wonder what it means. Like, he knows that we're trying to figure stuff out, and he's giving us just a taste of everything. He reads the blogs and news. He knows what's going on. He's well aware. He's probably, quite honestly, just training for the fight while we all flip out about the press conference. He's probably just doing his normal thing. Could Chandler be the one who's hurt or injured? Or is this all Conor? Contract negotiations stall? See, and if it's contract negotiations, as I said yesterday, I'm not worried about that at all. They'll get that handled. I really believe it. Not a problem. McGregor, what do you need? Okay, no problem. That should be how simple, unless he's gone off his rocker, which I doubt. So that can be fixed within 1 to 3 days. Anything else, an injury, can't be fixed, but they would also not let us know for 2 or 3 days, because they can't just say McGregor's injured, he's out, and let us all start freaking. They'd have to say he's injured. It's going to be Alex versus Yuri 2, or it's going to be that. It's got to be like simultaneous, if that's the case. So all this stuff, it leads into the timeline that it's possible as to why we've heard nothing. As we creep forward into the main event, yes, Jared Cannonier versus a worthy opponent in Nassourdine Imavov. And when I was looking at Cannonier's last few fights, I was surprised at who he beat since the Adesanya loss. We're going to get into all that. Then you got a very good Imavov across from him. So how's this going to play out? Well, let's get into it right now. In the middleweight division, your main event at UFC Louisville, you got Jared Cannonier coming in at 17-6, taking on Nassourdine Imavov, who comes in at 13-4. Now, first thing you got to know about Imavov is he's 4 inches taller. This guy stands at 6'3". He's just 29. Cannonier, 40. That's crazy. He's getting up there. Cannonier, 3-inch reach advantage, 78-75. He's a switch stance fighter. Imavov stands right-handed. Both guys highly active, near 5 significant strikes per minute. Neither guy is a big takedown specialist, if you will, both landing less than 1 takedown over the course of 3 rounds. So expect 1 or 2, maybe 3 in this fight. Cannonier, 63% takedown defense. Imavov, 76% takedown defense. Now, first, Jared Cannonier, right? Coming off back-to-back wins over Marvin Vettori by decision, and a split decision win, wow, over Sean Strickland. And in that fight, Strickland had a takedown. He led 152-141. So Sean Strickland, saying at UFC 302 he's been robbed before, and he's talking about Jared Cannonier and Dricus du Plessis, 2 fights he lost back-to-back or by split decision, right? But Cannonier got the win there. Now, he did lose to Adesanya. Other than that, he beat Derek Brunson and Kelvin Gastelum. So the guy's won 4 of the last 5, despite being 40. He's still a solid fighter. Now, Imavov still has 4 losses, right? He's had the no contest against Chris Curtis. He lost to Sean Strickland by decision. Got outstruck by him. He did beat Roman Dolce and Joaquin Buckley. So, what you got to figure here is Imavov wins if Cannonier's slowing down. But I don't think Cannonier's slowing down just yet. You know, he had a rough fight against Adesanya, but he's won 4 of the last 5. And he's, you know, when you compare the Sean Strickland fight, Cannonier trailed by 11, Imavov trailed by like 40 or 50. So I like Cannonier here in a striking battle. I like Cannonier to edge out a victory. If it goes to a decision, Cannonier's going to win 3 out of 5 if the judges are correct. So I'm leaning with him to get the win here, not get finished, and get the win by decision, probably like 160 to 140 in significant strikes, couple close rounds, but he'll get 3 out of 5 to move to 18-6, in my opinion. Middleweight division, UFC 302. Yeah, tough one to predict, as they always are in the main event, right? That's why we're just 10-8 on the year in that, but we're 135-87 in overall. So much better percentage overall than the main event, and that's because these fights are always tough. This is going to be another tough fight. Jared Cannonier is a bad dude, but he's 40, man. I just don't think it plays in to the fight, the age, yet, but it's certainly going to at some point. Like, man, the middleweight division is tough. I mean, you saw Sean Strickland dominate Paulo Costa this past weekend at UFC 302. You got Hamza versus Whitaker coming up. If Cannonier wins this fight, we're going to have basically 5 fighters in Hamza, Cannonier, Sean Strickland, Dricus, Adesanya, who are all capable of winning the belt on any given day.
You're watching the TCMMA podcast. And now, back to your host, Chris Cross.
What up, what up? Welcome back. It's your boy Chris Cross. Main event is on deck here as Jared Cannonier and Imavov work their way into the octagon. I apologize during the break. I guess we didn't have the video up, so you just heard the audio. But the bottom line is we got Jared Cannonier winning this fight. And it's an important one, man. It's an important fight for us. As you can see there on the bottom, main event 10-8 on the year. Not great. Overall's looking like it always does. 135-87. We like to be more like 145-77, but you know, we're right about where our normal average is. Right now, 8-7 on the night. Excuse me, 7-6, as we got Reyes and Rosas Jr. Right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses. Yeah, 7-6 on the night. So that's the way it looks right now. And if you missed it, Dominic Reyes returns with an absolute big finish over Dustin Jacoby. So as we get into Imavov and Jared Cannonier, this is such a huge fight. It's almost hard to explain because the middleweight division in June is ridiculous, right? You had Sean Strickland beat Paulo Costa, so he's in the top 5. And when we say top 5, we're looking at the Robert Whitaker, Hamza winner. We're looking at the winner of this fight. That's 2. Then you got Dricus, Adesanya, and Sean Strickland. Those 5 are going to leave the month as really a big difference from those below them. And we're getting ready to see a lot of important matchups in the top 5 after June is over. And the way I got it predicted is Strickland won already. We had that. We got Cannonier winning this. He's 40 years old, though, so time is short. But we got him winning this, and you never know. Imavov is really, really good, man. Imavov is really, really good. But one of these 2 will jump up there, and then we got Hamza beating Whitaker. So we'll have 5 fighters solidified in this division, man, which is really heating up as of late. So Imavov is in the octagon. We're going to have to wait for Cannonier to work his way to the octagon. And the lights go out. And I got people sending me pictures on the phone. So jealous, man. Wanted to be there. It's about 3 or 4 hours up the road. If there was one I was going to be able to make it to, this was the one. But it just didn't work out. Had too many conflicts. But nonetheless, we're here with you guys, right? That's what matters. So even though we can't be there live, which would have been crazy to see Reyes get the KO, Raul Rosas Jr. sub Tercios. I mean, it's been a short watch party so far. And the crowd is going crazy for USA right now, and Jared Cannonier looks totally focused. And it's a big fight for him because I don't remember a time when the crowd is back Jared Cannonier like they will tonight. And you can't afford to slip out of that top 5 at 40 years old, right? That's why this is such an important fight for him. And man, he looks focused heading to the octagon. And he knows he's got to be focused for this one because Imavov is for real. But he's beatable. So, you know. And if you're talking about a guy that's 40 but looks 30, you're talking about Jared Cannonier. All right, maybe 35. But he definitely does not look 40. If you met this guy on the street and he said he's 40, you'd be like, dang. Because the guy is in phenomenal shape. He's got a gas tank. You know, and he can go. And while they're working their way into the octagon, I need to peek at the Florida Panthers score here, see what's going on, man. Got my blood pressure up. I got to sit through the third period. Florida's up 2-0 with 13 minutes to go. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. And we got the power play, bro. You're getting ready. You're seeing it. This is how I sound if it's like McGregor or Hamza fighting or my teams are playing. Florida's never won a Stanley Cup. And they're on the power play right now as we await Cannonier getting in the octagon. So just bear with me, man. Bear with me. So 1:35 left in the power play. They're up 2-0. And man, a third goal here would just ice this game. Come on, Florida. Let's go, baby. All right, let me flip back before I get too caught up. So Jared Cannonier raising arms now. He's getting checked in. He's ready to go. 3.5 to 1 underdog to get the KO. Imavov to win by KO. 3 to 1. So, you know, if you pick someone to get a KO here, you make about time and a half. Which is crazy. Because I would expect someone to get KO'd here, honestly. We'll see. It's crazy that you get more than you put down for a KO when both guys are pretty active fighters and they land less than one takedown every 3 rounds. So they're trying to stand up and strike. So Imavov, slight favorite. Cannonier, almost even. So this fight is really basically even on paper. I mean, 4.7 significant strikes per minute for Cannonier, 4.5 for Imavov. It's very, very close. And what we need is 3 finishes in a row. Well, no, we had a submission by Raul, but 3 finishes in a row would be great, man. That's what we need. And this is it, you know. I mean, if you're Louisville, if you're in the crowd right now, which I have several friends that are there, it's like you get one more fight, man, and that's it. Who knows when they're coming back, right? I mean, it's wild to be able to be there in person. If you're living in Louisville right now or you're living anywhere that the UFC goes and you get to see a fight. Because it's like, honestly, realistically, when are they going back to Kentucky? Like 4 years from now? If you're lucky, next year or 2 years, right? I mean, there's 50 states, so. Some of them, like New York and Vegas, get more, obviously. Florida gets a couple here and there. If you are ready. Remember last time he did the announcing, he had to go out and the young lady came in. She did a phenomenal job. Like, I want to see her do it again. But nonetheless, Imavov getting checked in right now. Let me peek at the Florida game. What's going on here? Back to full strength, 10 minutes to go. So Florida's going to be playing for half a period of just trying to keep the puck away and keep it in Edmonton's zone. So they're going to try to pound out a victory here. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how this is going to play out, but every time that Florida has been to the Stanley Cup final, or 2 times. They got basically blown out by the competition. Didn't even have a chance. They can get the first game win here. I'm gonna be going crazy tonight, man. All right, but let me flip back because I'm gonna get stuck on it. So here's Jared Cannonier now, fighting out of Glendale, Arizona. He's getting introduced, and this fight is on, baby. Do me a favor, Cannonier. Do me a favor and get the quick finish, man. Do me a favor and get the quick finish so I can get back to the Florida game. That's all I asked. That's all I ask. All right, so here we go. Jared Cannonier, highly ranked middleweight. What is he, 4 or 5? Takes on Nassourdine Imavov, one of the 3 big middleweight division fights in June. And then the other 2 guys, Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis, aren't fighting this month, but those are the 5 guys. If you include Hamza and Whitaker coming up in 2 weeks, there's going to be 5 guys. And the crowd going crazy right now in Louisville, Kentucky, obviously America, and they're backing Jared Cannonier, the American, loudly. And that's what you got to love about UFC fights, man, is no matter what city it's in America, if they got a big American fighter and there's no reason to go the other way, they're going to be going crazy. People coming together, right, for the American. And Jared Cannonier opens up with a big right to start it. Imavov lands a left leg kick. And we thought there'd be a filling out period in the last fight. There wasn't, but this one's 5 rounds. Okay. So we'll see how this first round goes, but I'm expecting someone to get finished. I mean, these guys are just 2 strikers. And a couple big jabs by Imavov. You know, Cannonier gets tired of hearing the noise. Like, he had a chance to win the title or fight for the title against Adesanya and didn't fight well at all. I mean, Adesanya does that to people, right? He's got great defense. He really takes you out, and a big right by Imavov. And he's heard the noise since then, Cannonier. He wants to get a finish here. And both of these guys get tied up. Cannonier is going to walk Imavov back into the fence. Oh, look at this, a takedown by Cannonier. Okay. And I don't think this is where either guy wants to take the fight. But if you're Cannonier and you got control, go ahead and take it. And the ref pulls Imavov's hand out of the fence. Crowd chant USA once again. Loud and proud, baby. That's what I'm talking about. We need Cannonier to win this fight. That's our prediction. So I'm down with the USA right now. Oh. And he's being warned, Imavov, the fight is stopped. He's being warned of sticking his fingers out. Exactly what these new gloves are supposed to prevent. And a nice leg kick by Cannonier. 2 minutes gone. Oh, some big punches by Imavov here. Left-right combination. And you got to love it. These guys are going to stand in the pocket and throw. Cannonier up 12-4 right now. Several of those coming during the control on the takedown. But Imavov would eventually get up quickly. Was it 32 seconds on 1 takedown, so it didn't last long. And it's clear these guys are going to strike. I mean, it's not high pace right now. It's 14-5, midway through the round. Ooh. Okay, Jared, let's go, baby. Yes. Nice left right. Come on, Cannonier, let's go, baby. Let's go. Come on, crowd's ready. Big right. Oh. Cannonier on his back trying to kick away to Imavov. He's not letting him up. And now Cannonier gets his head stuck but gets it out. That was close. 130 left, round 1. And he walks him back. Crowd chant USA continuously, it seems like. And if Cannonier can get the win here, we'll We'll move to 7 of the last 8 main event predictions come true, which will really give us some space and move us to 11-8 on the year. Man, we were struggling at 4-7 at one point. And obviously, every week the main event is what you're focused on, and that's why we track it. And it's been a tough year, especially at the beginning. I mean, we were begging to get one right. Now, all of a sudden, we're 6-1 in the last 7. So a Cannonier win here would be huge for us. And right now, he's looking decent. I mean, he's clearly winning the round. And we'd like to see a finish, right? We'd like to see a big KO, but the odds makers usually know best. And if they're right, we're going to sit in here for a 5-round decision. Don't imagine they expect anyone to get a submission here, but you never know. And Cannonier's got Imavov backed up into defense with 2 seconds left on the clock, and that'll do it for round 1. And Cannonier clearly winning that round and winning it pretty easily. 1 takedown, 205 in control, 33-10 in total strikes, 18-9 in significant strikes. So he's dominating this fight right now. Now, Imavov looking tired already, man, after the first round. He's really hanging on his coach. He's standing up, though, in the corner. But he's kind of bending over. He's breathing hard. Cannonier's breathing hard, too, but not quite as hard. And you know Cannonier's in great shape. Now, Imavov's corner doing a really good job of getting him to breathe. So they slowed down his breathing. He looks much better in a matter of 30 seconds. Interesting. But if you're, the manager or the coach of either of these fighters, you tell Jared Cannonier, I mean, you followed the game plan perfectly in round 1. Just continue doing what you're doing. You don't have to change much, right? We'll see how round 2 plays out. Imavov, you got to pick up the pace a little bit, right? That's why they're controlling his breathing. They want to make sure he's fresh, which he does look fresh now, going into round 2. But you need to pick up the pace and match up better with Cannonier, who's kind of winning the fight on the feet. And Cannonier's got a lot of experience in the octagon. Here we go with round 2. And that's what both coaches should be telling their fighters. But if you're Imavov too, don't panic. It's early. Ooh, Cannonier comes in with a big left. Now he's flinching. Yep. And Imavov almost walking himself through, reaching out with the fingers and then closing back to a fist because he's been warned several times by the ref. Let's go Jared now is the chant. You got USA, let's go Jared. And a big moment for him, man, because you don't see the crowd behind him a lot. Like, did the crowd go behind him for Adesanya? No. In other big fights like this, no. I mean, this is probably the biggest fight of Cannonier's life in terms of just wanting to please the crowd and do something big. Ooh, and a big left right by Cannonier. Let's go, Jared. I'm with it, baby. But give me a finish. And another big right. And then he shoves Imavov to the ground and he spins, rolls, and gets right back up and takes a right. Now Cannonier trying to put the head on the hip. But Imavov doing a good job of protecting himself. And this round's starting a lot like round 1. Jared Cannonier with all the experience in the world, right, for this setting. I mean, when I was doing this prediction, in my mind, I had Jared Cannonier winning the fight. Right? Then I saw he's 40, and I'm like, ugh. When a fighter hits, when they hit 35, it's not good. When they hit 40, it's really not good. But he doesn't look like a 40-year-old. I mean, he's in tremendous shape. And no signs of slowing down yet as he lands 2 jabs coming out of a break. 3 minutes left, round 2. And a nice jab by Cannonier. He's really finding his range right now.
jab and stay technical all the way through those 5 rounds, and just over time, it snowballed when Marvin Vettori just ran away with it.
And it's just a lot of experience now. I mean, having these main events, being in the spotlight, getting used to these moments is big for an athlete.
Cannonier keeping Imavov backed up into the fence, really controlling the position here. And some nice elbows by Imavov. But it doesn't phase Cannonier. And this is interesting, you know. I didn't expect this from Cannonier. I expected him just to stand and strike. USA chance picking up once again. Jared's over 3 minutes of control already in the first 8 minutes of the fight. And eventually, Cannonier's got to shove off here. I mean, he's in a position where, you know, it's easy, right? He's not taking any punches or strikes or anything like that, so he's content in keeping Imavov backed up into the fence. And he takes a knee to the body. Cannonier lands a right. Now both fighters walk to the center of the octagon, but are still tied up. And now Cannonier finally shoves off. Ooh. And some big shots here by Imavov. Now a right by Cannonier. 110 left in round 2. And a missed uppercut by Imavov as both fighters are pushed back by the ref. Cannonier's mouthpiece comes out. And we're back in action. 1 minute left. Oh, and a nice right by Imavov. Be careful, Jared. Come on, man. And another big right. Imavov's picking up the pace here. Yeah, Jared, you better keep moving. Very close round, for sure. Yeah, 17-17 in this round. That's what I thought. Final 20 seconds could decide it. Cannonier's really controlled this round. If he can land 2 or 3 strikes right here, it'd be huge. And it's Imavov landing one, then another. And Cannonier's covering up. And they might give this to Imavov. And I'll tell you what, they might give that to Imavov. He led in significant strikes. Jared still had a lot of control time, but it seems like the momentum has turned a little bit over the last 2 minutes. Now it's Cannonier taking a big, deep breath. And as he's sitting, as they are in their corners right now, you can only imagine the amount of energy that you expend inside the octagon. I mean, your heart has got, you're in a fight with another human being. Like, your heart's pounding. As we see the replay, I mean, Cannonier really nearly ducked a big right hand by Imavov, which to me could have finished the fight. I mean, but both guys are in close proximity. And it seems like something's going to happen, but again, the odds makers usually know best. And they're saying no KO here. This thing's going to a decision. And Cannonier is no stranger to decisions. Even if he gets KO'd, I'd love to see someone get a finish here. Someone propel. That's what we need in this division. It didn't look good that Sean Strickland squeaked out a victory over Paulo Costa. Big right hand. First 10 seconds for Cannonier in round 3, followed by a left. But it didn't look good that Sean Strickland won a weird fight against Costa, right? Just kind of protected himself the whole fight. It's not going to be good if Cannonier, you know, edges out a victory over Imavov or vice versa. I mean, I guess it could be good for Whitaker and Hamza, because if one of them come out and get a finish, it might propel them up. Now Imavov looking for the takedown. He gets it. Cannonier goes down to one knee, walks himself back up. And you got some people saying 2018 Cannonier 2-0. You got The other half saying 19-19. I would lean 19-19 by the way that Imavov finished a round. And the crowd doesn't like this. They're all shouting at Imavov. He's got the back of Cannonier, not really doing much with it. Of course, the crowd is pro Cannonier, so they're going to want to see some action here. Cannonier taking his time. He turns back into Imavov and spins him back into the fence. And now the crowd's on their feet. They're liking this. Eventually, they're going to shove off and start striking again. Let's go, Cannonier. Come on, man. Do something, baby. First 2 minutes go on, round 3. We're approaching the midway point of the fight. And after 2 quick fights to start the watch party tonight, we now got a back and forth in the main event. And you obviously know it's high level at this point, 4 versus 7. And if Imavov does win, whoever does the rankings, you guys better not put Vettori above him. Okay, Cannonier opening up a little bit. Okay. Plenty of time left in this round, too. 2:20 left. And now Cannonier walks Imavov back into the fence. And it's kind of getting lulled to sleep a little bit here if something does happen, because it's just, a little bit of striking and then right back to the fence. 5:20 of control time now for Cannonier. So he's really pulling away in that department. I mean, Imavov has 2 takedowns, but hasn't done much with it. Not even a minute of control time. 49-37 Cannonier in significant strikes. 80-50 in total strikes. And he seems to be winning this round. So at worst, he'll be up 2-1 if he can continue in this direction. And a nice knee to the body by Cannonier. They get loose again, and a big right by Cannonier. Let's see if they can finish for 120. Striking. No more tie-ups. Let's go, man. Forget the control stuff. Nobody's submitting anybody. There you go, Cannonier. Okay. Both guys land a big right. Look out. Now a jab by Imavov. Come on. And both guys sense the opportunity here, right? I mean, this is an absolutely huge fight to kind of put yourself in the top 5 of the division. Maybe Vettori sneaks in there, but I don't see him as being someone right now that's in that upper echelon of the division. And that's why it's just hard to imagine Cannonier losing a fight, and why I made my prediction. Now Cannonier ties him up again. About 30 seconds left in round 3. Now the crowd beginning to boo both fighters. They want to see some action. And it is a good fight. I mean, when you look at the significant strikes, 54-44, it's by no means boring. We're just getting lulled to sleep because there's these points where they're just tied up a lot of times for 7 minutes, and some big leg kicks by Imavov to finish the round. But yeah, Cannonier won that round. Okay. He's probably up by 4 or 5 significant strikes in that round. Led in control time. But the other key area here that could be overlooked right now by myself is head strikes. Imavov leads 37-33. So with all the control that Cannonier has shown here, he's still trailing in head strikes. So he's got to pick up the pace in that area, because that's something that really sticks out to the judges. I mean, we've seen cases where a fighter is led in all categories, but then the head strikes were big the other way, and that guy can win, usually wins the fight. Because leg kicks aren't seen as a big thing among the judges. It's more for a fighter trying to control the other fighter or take the legs out body shots, or unless it's a big one, they really don't matter, right? It's all about the head strikes, a little bit about the takedowns and control time, unless it's a huge factor, which if we continue on this pace, Cannonier is going to be over 10 minutes of control time. So here we go, round 4. Main event rounds now. And a nice left by Cannonier to start the round. So it appears these guys are going to cause me to miss the end of the Stanley Cup final. I'm nervous to switch over out of fear of missing something. But Florida's up 2-0. Let me go back to the live stream. 2-0, 20 seconds left. Okay, so Florida's going to be up 1-0. And the crowd is going crazy, man. That's where I grew up, so this is like a big deal. And the goalie is phenomenal. They're going to win this thing 2-0. On an open net goal, 3-0 Florida. Let's go, baby. Let's freaking go, man. Bring home the cup for once. That game's over. Beautiful. Now I can watch this in peace. 4 minutes left. Round 4. Oh, nice Imavov. I hear you. So you got one weighing in saying, uh-oh. Cannonier's in trouble. Oh, boy. And I was just going to say, you got some people saying 29-28 Imavov. Cannonier's in a little bit of trouble here. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, he lands a big right, but... And that's it. He stopped the fight. What? Why did he stop the fight, bro? Wow. That's a terrible stoppage. One of the worst I've ever seen. And he's trying to convince Cannonier, but that was not even close to what should be a stoppage after going... Come on, man. That's bullcrap, man. People are going to be talking about this. Terrible stoppage. And I'm sure Dana White will say that in the post-fight press conference if we see him. Terrible stoppage. Let's see the replay. I mean, this fight's a wrap. Okay, so he lands the big right. And Cannonier's out on his feet a little bit. He's kind of, dancing around. But he's running toward the fence to, give himself a second. Then he resets. Takes another right. Same thing. Okay. Yeah, and he's clearly affected. But he's running to get out of dodge to give himself a second. But I want to see when the ref actually stopped it. What's he seeing here? Because Cannonier just landed a big right and it took a left. Are you serious? Yeah, the crowd's... This is terrible stoppage. Absolutely terrible. And I hate to see that for Jason Herzog because I like him, but this is not the setting where you want to stop it early. Wow. Cannonier can't believe it. He's going to fall to 17-7, but Imavov's going to get the win to move to 14-4 here. Unreal. And it was 61-60 Imavov, who was really starting to come on. I mean, but it's a shame we don't get to see a true finish here. 51-37 head strikes. Jared Cannonier had a lot of control, 6 minutes versus 1 minute, so it's always the possibility he could have shot in for the takedown to buy himself some time, but we don't know what would happen. But Imavov gets the win. He's going to put himself like in that top 5 figure area in the middleweight division. So big win for Imavov. I disagree with the stoppage, but it is what it is here. Middleweight division, UFC Louisville. So listen, man, I appreciate y'all watching. That's a wrap. Freaking Florida Panthers up 1-0 in the Stanley Cup. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And we fall in the main event. So, we're going to drop to 10-9. And I think we're 7-7 on the night. So it's going to go down as a terrible night for us. 500 and lose the main event. Just terrible. But listen, I appreciate y'all listening. This your boy, Chris Cross. I hope y'all have a great day. And God bless. As always, peace.